Last but not least, we will talk about opacity maps. That means when you want to create a look like you have this in these metals here, or when you want to create a fence or something where you won't model every single detail, instead you create a transparency with a black and white map. But today we won't do it on a metal. I prepared a plant for that, and because it's also used most of the times when you download, for example, plants from the internet, then you always get maps, not always, but sometimes you get some maps with it. And for example, I downloaded this hibiscus and I have different maps, and for that I have my color map, and also I use this as bump map, and I have a black and white map. And this black and white map will decide where the geometry will be transparent and where not. And I prepared actually just a material as you know it. I have here the color in it. I used for roughness actually the file, the black and white file with the bump map. And what I did is also some kind of subsurface scattering, but I will explain that later. Because what we want is actually this position here. And oh, I have to adjust also the bump map. So quickly do that. That I use here the where have it? Leave that one. And I know that I have to change here the look to minus 0.1. And the next thing is here, the opacity. I just break connection, sorry. So the opacity looks actually normally that way, okay? That is the shape of the leaf, and I want to get rid of this side. So go into opacity, check a file, and add our black and white stuff here. So the black stuff is going away and the white stays. In some programs it's the other way around, but let's see if it works. Now it looks black, but actually I also say thin walled here, it may help us to create a better look, but because we just have no thickness in it. And when for example, here in the transmission, you could also actually adjust some kind of transparencies, but the maps you have to use in the opacity. And when I changed here just a little bit, okay, the plants are not transparent, but they let light through actually a little bit. So you can just put a little weight in it for the transmission. So now you see the effect a little better. And what subsurface scattering does is actually, I rendered it before. It takes quite long to render. And when I switch here, you see it, this was without subsurface scattering, where the parts here, the shadow parts, are actually really black. And with subsurface scattering, you see that they are getting brighter. The reason why is that subsurface scattering, there is the light going into the geometry, and actually it lets the light through. So also when you have a white paper or something, or a wax or such kind of materials, they let light in, but they are not transparent. And with that you can create more realistic effect. Maybe I also put it a little bit more, and you also see the effect what the opacity map does. It puts away the things I don't want to see. And now let's check what the full rendering looks like. That's the result. As you see, it looks quite okay. The only thing I recognized was that here on the back side of the leaves, it looks kind of, yeah, kind of, don't know how to say. The reason why maybe is here the color and maybe also the thin walled, which I checked before, because when I switch off the thin walled, it looks like this. Of course, it's quite grainy, but this is also a render setting where I can, where I have it here, for example, the SSS is subsurface scattering, and when I increase this value to 3, 4, 5 or something, it will also get a better quality here. And just for reasons for understanding what this thin walled is doing, I just checked here the Arnold help site, help page, and you see here thin walled, what is the difference when this is on, and this is a quite good example. So thin walled is actually just used for materials which don't have a backside, more or less, and it looks like that it also is lit from the back. And as you see here, that when it is enabled, that the light, you see it goes through it somehow. So, and here you also have the opacity explained again. So what happens when you have here different kind of opacity, or like in our case, this is what opacity map does, a checker that you have black or white stuff, okay? So just for explanation, so I do another rendering with this thin walled checked off, but I think you got the idea. The next thing that I want to do is actually also using a map, not here in opacity, but in a transparency. To explain the difference, I just switch here to my ruler, because there, when I want it to look like a transparent plastic, I see, just check what my UVs are saying here. If they are already laid, no, they are not laid out, so I just do a quick automatic mapping. And what I do is I create a new material. So actually I have a wood here, but I also have some kind of opacity here, and I will use this in the color. And you can, of course, when you would use it in opacity, then you won't see the numbers here, so they were actually, the geometry goes away. And what I wanted to show what is, so I just put it here, and so I fixed my UVs. Just for you to see, what I did is actually I cut the geometry in. So let's check here. Yeah, the switch off the image, so you see this is this UV shell, and this is the bottom, and the side parts I don't mind actually, and I just positioned them in the white space here in the image, because I actually just want all the other stuff to be seen. Okay, and I did it with cut and unfold stuff. So now back to our material. I just delete quickly my history. So, ruler. And my roughness, I changed it a little bit more so that I will have some kind of milky plastic look, and decreased also this stuff. Doesn't matter, it's just for any style you want to have. So, and now here we have the transmission, so we put that to 1 and you see immediately the whole ruler is going away. And of course, actually it's not away, it's just a preview. Just can keep it that it's not fully transparent. And now I want to say, okay, where it should be a transparent plastic look and where should it be not transparent, and that is of course here where the lines and the colors are. And for that I will put here in my color the file that I also had here. So, and what's the difference? Actually, now can switch here the weight to 1 so that it is fully transparent. And the difference between when I put the file here in transmission instead of here at the opacity. The opacity, the whole geometry is more or less deleted. It's away. It's fully away. There is no reflection, nothing. Okay? And no shadows and so on. And when I put it here in the transmission color, there are still reflections, there are still, the geometry is still there and it reacts to light, but it defines here where it is transparent and where not. Let's see what the rendering effect is. I already rendered it. This is what we got. Of course, the quality isn't good. It is still grainy because I just rendered it in preview quality, but you see what I mean. There's still everything there. Remember, at the leaves the geometry was away, and I have parts where it is transparent. Okay, that's what you need to know about to get your shaders transparent.